You're listening to Anything But Competitive by Geeks First.
All right, greetings and welcome to this episode on Geeks First. We're going to do this a little bit different. Today, we're going to be doing a solo cast where essentially I'm going to be discussing the Worlds events, the upcoming set, and just a couple of housekeeping items, I guess, because, it is a little bit past when the Worlds event has occurred. And this is just going to be kind of a summary of a lot of the things that are happening. And first and foremost, as you could probably see from the page, there is a big emphasis on the next set here, this Compendium of Rathe or Wrath. It depends on what I call it Wraith, but I've heard people call it Wrath as well. So there's that. And there is this emphasis now on Silver Age, which we will come and touch on that. And the first thing I'm going to actually start on, which is the Rhinar Armory deck, is now out as of the last Friday, technically, I believe, or it was, pretty much it should be in your stores at this moment. It is an interesting deck list. I've looked at it. I've watched some games on Talishar played. I have heard several complaints about the deck. I don't think I have any personal complaints necessarily. I'm not a brute player, so I can't really attest to the reasons why people are not happy with this. I know that there's definitely some interesting, right? Everybody's talking about blue sixes and, just beat chess seems to be the primary theme. There's a good video actually, which I believe it is this one here, where they do Ira versus the Rhinar Armory deck. And it is, it's worth checking out. So for nothing else, I would say that if you are a collector of the sealed products, it is definitely good. I've noticed that the price on this on TCG Player, at least at the time of recording, I saw it as low as like $39.99 or $40, which I think technically is less than the retail price on this. So that's kind of nice. And again, as you kind of go through some of the product sheet bits of information here, they did choose to use not the OG Rhinar artwork here. They went with something a little bit different. And because again, this is a CC deck, you get Majestics, Rares, Commons, and basics in here. So, it is MSRP at $39. Look at me, I'm silly. It's $40. So I guess it's right where it needs to be. It's not like jacked up like Jarl is. So there's definitely some stuff here. And again, this was kind of a backtracking a little bit. It's not a CC/Blitz, but that makes sense given the stuff that we're going to discuss here in a second. All right, so now we kind of have the Compendium of Wraith, and this is just a cute little, I like the symbol. This book, this is pretty neat. It reminds me of a little bit of Harry Potter type stuff, but also it kind of harkens back to the tomes that they got rid of, like all the, draw cards that are kind of in banned world. But we're not going to click on that just yet, but I just wanted to show that off. I found that on their website. It's kind of neat. We are instead going to talk about this, which is the World Championship Keynote recap. Now, several individuals, including friend of the channel, Ashen Wings TCG, Dice Commando, DM Armada, there were Agro Blaze. There was quite a bit of content creators that were there. Heck, I even saw I think it was a video from Frank's Hobbies. He was there. So I mean, kind of I regret not being able to make it, but at the same time, I had prior commitments and knew I couldn't make it. But the keynote was a very interesting bit of drop. So from Brian doing the keynote here, we're gonna start getting into some of this stuff, and you're a little bit of pre-spoilery type stuff here, but if you've already watched this, other channels have talked about it, so it's probably already well known. But Compendium of Wraith is a new, now it's not a main core set, it is a supplemental/expansion set, and that is interesting because just a while ago at Dusk Till Dawn, they kind of said, hey, we're kind of done with these, and we're not really going to do it. We're going to focus on core expansion. So for them to come back to this is actually kind of intriguing for a myriad of reasons. Now, in this setup, they announced support for Silver Age, but they also have this special pack, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And that special pack is going to have key reprints of some really high-end cards, including for the first time ever, Fables, which is right here, the Eye of Ophidia. You got Balance of Justice and Shelter from the Storm. So there looks to be a wide range of stuff in there. And then when we get into the product sheet, we can talk a little bit more about that. but there's also going to be a huge amount of these just rare and common, accessories. You can make your character dressed up in whatever way you want. There's going to be a bunch of different options now that will just fundamentally change probably a lot of what you used to expect to see to now you might have, 4 or 5 heroes running different packages of different things that might have different key equipment that comes out. I'm excited to see where this goes because this is kind of cracking the egg wide open on this. As you get further in here, right, we got the Compendium of Rathe, which again we'll come into. They talked about Silver Age, and one of the things that was really interesting, at least, and this is where the you decide comes in. So I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but we'll come back to talking about this a little more in detail. We didn't know about the rotation of the format, and the rotation of the format itself is something that I am curious how it will work long run. But at a high level, why it says you decide is unlike a cadence cycle like a 2 year or a 1 year or a living legend system. This is going to be voting based on popular vote, and there are some, and I'll talk about it when we get down there. There are some catches I'm curious about, but on the fundamental idea, there will be, I think it's 3+1, 3 voted heroes and 1 from LSS every year that get voted. And those top 3 voted heroes are out for the season. You're out of here, right? So now that means that there's going to be a little bit of variety. But for the first season, which is coming up in this Compendium of Wraiths at 18, there is no voting. It's everybody's fair game. Then after that, it'll come in. And I have a spreadsheet I will do a separate video on, but I was trying to do the math on what it would look like when you have a hero maybe voted out for 1 or 2 years, or you can systematically try to eliminate an entire class if the community did something. So there's some interesting, weird gotchas that I can go down as a rabbit hole. Not going to do it right now, but that is something crazy. But again, the you decide, right? Brian Gottlieb made a hilarious joke during the keynote, which is, when it doesn't work, he's going to blame you or us or me, right? Because it's us making the decision, and that is kind of a funny haha quip on the whole. Everybody, complaining that he made an all Arachne or all, set of assassins. So, anyways, it's. I thought I laughed hysterically. I think even in one of the videos I saw, like it was DM Armada in the front row or something, or they were just laughing constantly. So it was great. I think it sounded like from secondhand information and listening, the vibe of the keynote and the population of people, there was some really cool stuff going on there. Circling down here, the pro level events and why this is important is Silver Age is now being kind of injected into the pro level events, and with those pro level events, there's $2 million worth of prizing, and looks like some of these places they're going to do is Pro Tour Las Vegas. There is Aracaba. I can never say that right. Aracaba, which is in January. Columbus, which I think is close enough for me to be able to make. So I'm going to try and see if I don't have something scheduled to go to that. I think I have a convention that I'm supposed to be going to that's somewhere around that, but it looks like that weekend's open with a quick glance at my calendar. Montreal's in February. Toulouse is in March. Brisbane is in March. Shanghai is April, and Shinjuku is in July. So that kind of gets us right up to basically again Gen Con of next year. So we kind of have the first 7 months laid out, and we'll probably learn some stuff maybe at Gen Con. It sounds like this is going to be their cadence. Like just get into the rhythm here. I think what's going to happen is it's going to be a cadence cycle of bing bang, bing bang. We're going to learn some stuff. Now, Skirmish, which is Blitz, I believe this is the farewell. This is the final version of that. Blitz is going away, the dodo bird, and everything else coming up is going to be Sage and CC. So looking at how this is kind of set out, we got the Road to Nationals coming up, Pro Quests, and those are going to be both in Las Vegas, but you're going to be able to do Sage and CC. But it is interesting that they're not doing it on the same weekend. They're doing it back-to-back weekends, so that would be a heck of a long stay if you wanted to go to both. But I see Tekla-Vossen in the background there, so I'm really wondering or hoping that we get some cool Tekla-Vossen goodies during that. Yeah, who knows? And then the next one is Sage. So kind of going down here, they brought back the Armory deck Origins, and this time they did a pre-release trailer, and Hala is who is coming out, which is a warrior, and that'll be kind of sweet, actually. I'm pretty interested to see that. Right, the Jarl was not my cup of tea, but Hala looks pretty interesting. And they did something funny where they kind of yelled "Hala" at the top of their lungs, and I don't know, they're having fun with it. So Again, I said this before, and I'll say it again. I think these origin decks are going to be ways to bring heroes that have flavor text that they want to bring into the game without having to have it in a set or a supplemental or anything of that effect. So this is going to be a injection of cool cards, and I would not be a bit surprised if, as an example in here, they reprint or give Glistening Steelblade a nice reprint since it has not been a thing, or maybe not, but either way, they'll probably have new cards. But you know, it's interesting because this is one of those things that this deck um, could have new cards, could have existing cards. We don't quite know a lot about it, but it'll be April of next year, so we're still 4+1, so we're still 5 months away from this thing being out there. So it's a very early announcement, in my opinion, of seeing this, but still nonetheless really really cool. All right. So that is the bulk of information on this page. Again, we talked highly about some of these things, and we're going to go to the next. Okay, so now we have Silver Age, the new chapter. We've talked a little about this. It came out in mid-October, so this is about 1 month ago. And I won't recap most of this, but the reason I wanted to bring it back up is there are the 10 decks, right? These are the 10 first decks that are coming out. But one of the things that they mentioned is, while you're going to get these at your store, at the world premiere, there's going to be something called hot stamped versions of these cards. And the hot stamped heroes are going to be quite interesting. I would like to get a full set of them, but I am not going to be attending the Worlds event. But regardless, I'm assuming they're going to be the more sought after versions. But what's nice about this, right, is we do now know that these come with a pack of Compendium of Rathe, which makes sense because there's a bunch of cards that are going to be able to do this. There's not like a carnival slot like I had suggested, but instead it's really more of a pack of just a myriad of things. There are Majestics in the set, which does make sense because they can also still support CC, but they're all can also not downshift, but they can also look at, or we don't even know right now. There could be some downshifted cards, but this is also something that we're looking at that will have class support across the whole thing. And maybe because they didn't create a deck in here, right, they kind of expect you to use like Gravy Bones or something as your starter deck for Necromancer, but that's about the only class they really didn't kind of touch. So all right, now we're at the Compendium of Wraith. This is the meat and potatoes of what I want to talk about. So for those of you who stuck around, thanks very much. Appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, do the things, because that is what keeps us motivated to keep doing this, because I enjoy this. And you know, it's it's interesting because I'm seeing a lot of shifts. Oh, by the way, farewell, as thank you for doing such awesome stuff for the community. I hope you find very interesting things in your life, and I'm very glad to have a signed crack bottle from you behind me over here. But if you are unaware, Az from Go Again Gaming has announced that he is retiring from the content creation scene. So I wish you the best, good sir, and I really wish I'd have been able to go out to one of the mythical drunken bar nights. But maybe one of these days, if you're in the U.S. again, we can arrange something of that. But anyways, back on the Compendium of Wraith thing, the uh, the box art and the dogs barking. So the box art. Box art is pretty slick looking. It actually, I can't tell if this is going to be a slim box, similar to Dustildon and I would even say Griswold War, right? Or Everfest. Those little flat, really small, tiny ones. It looks like it would be. But yeah, this is just, it looks so clean. I like this. It looks like it does look like an archive. It reminds me of, I mean, I say archive because I call it an archive. I think it's an archive or antiquity pack. Sorry, I call it an archive pack. But yeah, so the Compendium of Wraith is going to have a real crazy amount of stuff. So as we get into it, the antiquity pack, this is a big rock the boat moment here. There are people on both sides of the fence. Some pretty extreme examples. I saw some folks that were in the collectible sphere that were hardcore investors, and they are just pissed. I don't know how to describe it better than that, but it just does not seem that they are very happy with the whole reprinting of Fabled and other cards that are basically taking away the value of what they have in their collection. But at the same time, I feel that they are still doing it. And to me, as a person who is a small fish in a big sea where I'm only collecting the things I care about, but then I'm also only really trying to have my play set, right? As a set collector, I want one of the originals for a set, But now I might even say, you know what, instead of trying to get a balance of justice, maybe I go out and purchase this, or I hope to get this version because I like the art better, right? Like this Shelter of the Storm looks so much better in my opinion than the other Shelter of the Storm. So there's a weird yin and yang here that I can totally understand where they're coming from, but at the same token, this is mathematically this pack is going to be it's going to be a bomb every time, right? I think that somebody said it's all generics from a podcast. I think that was Logan from Flesh and Pod. I think he'd mentioned that was all generic. So if that is true, right, that means that these would be good for any of the classes in there, and there are multiple variations of like there are fableds, there are legendaries, there are majestics. I'm assuming there might be some rares, but maybe majestics would be the lowest reprint they'll go because you get one per box, you get one per 24 packs. So um, there will be something for everybody. That is something they pointed out. And again, 80 plus pieces of equipment that harkens way back to like the feeling I got when Crucible War was a thing. Like it just opened up so much new equipment, Visitronic Model I, and all these other things that were just like, oh, cool, reprints of original stuff and whatever. So maybe some of these 80 pieces of equipment are going to be reprints, and I say that because they say more than 50 legal for new Silver Age formats. So of the 80, right, let's say 20 of them are for CC or reprints that are not legal for the basic, common, and rare category. And that's why I think this set is going to be insanely interesting. Um, they say they talk about supporting Silver Age. That's also pretty important. And then again, Old Legends New Chapter is something they say here, but it's 348 cards, and because of that, like you might remember Trench of Sunken Depths. Well, this is Trench of Watery Depths, right? It's not quite the same at all, but it is the same kind of vibe, right? But a lot of these cards are going to be different variations of cards that maybe allows for an archetype to be played that was taken away because the majestic cards did something that was important for that class. Now, as an example, Savage Claw right here, right? This is a majestic that's not going to be viable within the Sage format, but the other three here, like Comeback Kicks, are going to be. So you have a lot of variety, and I will not even speculate right now, at least not at the moment, on what these are going to be. I think I'll have to do a whole nother video on those. And to kind of continue this going forward, right, there's the world premiere in London. That's where they talk about that. And I want to talk about the product overview here. So it's February 13th, right before Valentine's Day. So great gift for your significant other, buy this for them, and, maybe somebody will buy it for you. Set code name is PEN, right? PEN, which was the acronym people were trying to figure out. And Compendium, get it? Pen, PEN. It would be really cute if there was like a scribe or a scroll that was the piece of set symbol or whatever. They don't really do set; they just do set code names. So 348 cards again. Now the big catch with this is the MSRP has gone up 144.90. That puts it at about $7.50 or $8 a pack. Now the map pricing, right, could be as low as 120-ish with the map pricing, which is where they have it here. But I pretty much am almost going to guarantee that LGSs are not going to go to that price. I do not foresee, unless they print this stuff and change the way they've been doing things, I don't foresee it getting it for 120. I foresee it still being in the 140s, 130s, especially on release because of how popular and excited people are for this, right? This is busting open Sage, the format, just wide open. Next up here, booster pack configuration. Again, we said that you get 24. It's still in a 4-pack display for a case with 384 or 348 cards, 9 cards per pack. Again, that goes back in time where we were kind of a lot less. But the makeup of packs, as we go further down, we'll talk about, is dramatically different. I think it was Clue. Oh my gosh, I don't remember his name. He did an interesting number breakdown of some of this, and I love numbers too. I was going to start kind of playing with this, but he's been doing such a good job at that. I don't want to kind of break into what he's messing with there, but just the number game is so interesting with this because there's just a variety of like how do you get the cards and what's the distribution rates and all that. I mean that's stuff that used to be a lot more talked about, and I think he's one of the only content creators still out there messing with that. I still try to do my own little versions of it, but I haven't really done anything. So I might mess around with it for this because there's just so much interesting things here. But with the 9 cards per pack, I am interested because there's 23 marvels. Now, Marvels typically are reserved for heroes and equipment, and we've seen a couple of Marvels that are for something else, but I don't know what in the heck 23 Marvels would be in this other than maybe unless they give some marbles for a couple of heroes that may not exist, or maybe we don't even know if there's going to be like, and again, I doubt it at this point, but we don't know if there's going to be like a assassin scenario in Dynasty where we have this like injection of a whole new class with something. I doubt it, right? The goal of this is to get new players in. That's not the point. They wouldn't want to put that in the Sage decks, right? They want these cards to be playable. So um, that's not to say the other cards aren't playable, but you get my point. 8 legendaries is also pretty massive. So 8 legendaries. One could put the tinfoil hat saying that there would be 8-ish classes that might need something. So maybe some of these are reprints. But I noticed that there is no Fabled. This set appears to be the first set that will not have a Fabled 000 card unless they're not talking about it. Where that Fable comes in is in that Antiquity pack, which we'll talk about here in just a second. Going down the list again, you got 124 rares and 142 commons. This is massive, meaning that this is going to, especially if you divide this by, I think we'll just call it 10. That is 12.4 rares and 14 commons per, basically could be per class. That is unbelievable. Like that could change everything. Like there could be archetypes that come out of this that just exist because these cards are going to support that. It's awesome. Now another really crazy thing here, right? Cold foils used to be one per box, one per 8 packs. That's 3 per, and it could replace a rare. Now this is where rainbow foils come in, and this is that math I was talking about. So 3 per pack, 2 rares or 1 rare, majestic, legendary, or marvel or higher, 5 commons per pack. So in a box with 24, you are getting 120 commons per box, and then you're getting somewhere in the vicinity of, we'll call it at the low end 48 and at the high end 72 rares per box. So I will do this. I'm going to buy one of these boxes, and the goal is to make 2 Sage decks that go head to head, right? You could still buy the Sage precons at 20, I think $20 a piece, so that's $40, right? So in theory, it would be nice to see, could you make 2, 3 Sage decks out of this? I don't know the pack composition or anything, but that's the theory. All right, moving on. Japanese has a couple other things. I didn't see any specialized like notes in here that stated that they got something special we didn't get in the English side. But this would be an example of a product I absolutely want to go find at least one Japanese booster box and keep it sealed, just because it just seems so unique. Especially again when we get to the Antiquity pack, which is now what we've been blabbing on about. We're talking about. So the Antiquity pack is 38 total cards. That is a metric ton of additional cards. And it is 3 cards per pack. So this is kind of like the treasure pack, kind of like High Seas. So you're going to get 1 regular slot, which is a non-foil Antiquity rare. And then in the Antiquity slot, you get the 1 Antiquity card and then a puzzle slot. So there's 27 puzzle pieces. So that's 3 new puzzle pieces for my puzzle binder. I am having a hard time keeping up with the puzzle pieces because holy moly, trying to get 2 copies of every puzzle piece so that you can flip it over and have 1 of each is pretty interesting. So 3 puzzle sets. That could mean if there's 3 puzzle sets, there could actually be 6 artworks on this if they're doing double-sided. If they're doing double-sided, so that would be pretty bonkers. Especially if you think about this, these only come in the Antiquities pack. So to get 3 sets, that's 27 puzzle pieces. That would be at least 20. If a perfect distribution, 27 boxes just to get 1 of each of the 3. And then let's say you needed to double that. That's like 50 something boxes just to get the puzzle pieces. These puzzle pieces are going to probably be pretty stupid expensive. So if you're out there and you want to get rid of some and you want to give them to me for whatever reason, I will gladly put them to try and create the murals and puzzle pieces as I go. 10 rares, obviously rares probably more common than the Majestics, and then legendaries more so than Majestics, and 3 Fabled and 1 Marvel. Right? I don't know who the Marvel is going to be, but my speculation for this is that the Marvel is got to be somebody who's never had a Marvel treatment prior, and that's something that the fans really want. And because this is a antiquities pack for Sage, I am wondering whether or not we're going to get like a Marvel, like Blaze is illegal, so it would make no sense to put something like that. But I would imagine it'd be a Marvel that would be used in Sage. So I'll be thinking about that a little bit more to try to whittle down who it could be. But like we already have the Valdas, we already have some other ones. So there's a couple of heroes that have not got them, and I'm thinking it's going to be one of those. Captain would be freaking cool. Um, Just what you need, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, those are merchants. They probably not gonna do that. So, anyways, those are the breakdowns. You do get at least one rare and then one higher tier in that. So, right, the fables are going to replace the rare more often than not. I'm sure you're going to see rares. So, to get a playset of these, right, it's going to be very, very complicated. So moving on to the actual Compendium of Rathe product sheet here, we have some pretty unique stuff in here, which is just a lot of really cool artwork, right? You're kind of showcasing some of the heroes, and just again, you got this book motif right here, this compendium right there, that beautiful, beautiful 3/4 micro text box. I have a Phidia, Shelter of the Storm again, very beautiful. Like I would straight up get rid of my Shelter of the Storm. I think I only have one of them. Whatever to get one of these. So I'm kind of in a weird way glad I didn't go buy the Shelter Storm. And honestly, this is already doing some very interesting things to the prices of TCG player cards, because I am seeing, I think it's the Shelter of the Storm drop from like $100 down to like 60 or $70. So I think it's already technically getting people in the mindset of like, I want to get rid of this. Now it looks like somebody's already put up, oh my gosh, there's already pre-sales for Compendium of Rathe. Oh my gosh, this is new. There's 15 cards on here. So the cards that have been revealed are sitting on here. Of course, no one's going to have a price on any of these, but it is interesting to see that the Compendium of Rathe shows up when you search for specifically Shelter of the Storm. So that is hot off the presses for me. But yeah, the market price was $90, and now the Shelter of the Storms are hitting that like $67, $65 range. So they definitely have already taken a little bit of a hit, which is good. I mean, that makes them more affordable, I guess. And for a person like me that doesn't even own more than one, I'd like it. Now I'd say, I need more than one because I'm going to play in Sage, but they're not legal in Sage, right? Because they're Majestics. I don't see them downshifting it. And I guess if you played UPF, I still want a copy for my UPF because, again, I'm focused on UPF at some point. I know that doesn't seem what anybody else cares about, but I still like UPF. And one of these days, by golly, I'm going to play more UPF. So getting in, these are the other kind of cards. They revealed quite a bit of different ones. We don't have the text on every single one of these. I might be a liar here because looking at Compendium of Rathe, it looks like let's see here. That's Antiquities Pack Compendium of Rathe. Oh my gosh, so there are two versions of Compendium of Rathe. Okay, well, that's interesting. Did not know that. Funny enough, I don't know if there's a easier way to sort for Compendium of Rathe at this point, because what I was just, yeah, you have to go to the normal Shelter of the Storm. Yeah, that's okay. They have it listed as a legendary. So Shelter of the Storm is one of the legendaries in Compendium of Rathe. It's already confirmed on here, pin 321, legendary rare. So they did the CNC treatment for this. Okay, well, interesting. All right, well, we got Stormwind Sheath. It's actually a Lightning Bond card. You got, this is an Ice Bond, and that's an Earth Bond. We know those three. Speed Demon is a max looking card with hyperdrivers. I don't believe they have given us the full information on that. I do not see that listed on here. The trenches and other things are, but we got like what looks to be a Blaze Firemine kind of a hero in here, and again Max with the wrench. I really do like that. So Hyperdrivers may be a possibility. Now, I mean, it does say, um, I think it's crank. You may blank an item from your, no, I don't know. There's a keyword here. Something as an additional cost you may play. You may banish an item or equipment from your graveyards. I don't know. Well, I don't quite know what that one is. I'll have to see if anybody else has deciphered that yet. Down here, right? Grimoire Fellings, Synapse, Spark Cap, Bolt Bolt, Comeback Kid, Undying Grip. This is if you have no cards in your hand, it gets plus. I mean, these are gonna be so cool. I noticed here this Grimoire is in, Majestic, right? It looks like so. That is not going to be a Sage legal card, but it is still pretty interesting. It actually says instant, destroy this, create a rune chant token. So there is that. Again, more than 80 cards, you get this beautiful, bit of information. Again, I like this so much. The Japanese product, I I would love to see a Japanese Compendium of Rathe opened up. I think that's just going to be really, really cool. All right, jumping over here, set symbols and anything else interesting. We got some different product bits of information, antiquity packs, banners, Japanese banners, key arts, things like that. And then let's talk about the Compendium of Wraith World Championship in London in February. Last bit of information in here, really, to wrap things down, is we got the Fabled package and the, I guess we'll call it the collection package. Now, I think they had mentioned this is going to be the first time ever that you can purchase, I guess, boxes of the new set at the world premiere event. And I am half tempted to sponsor someone to go there and get a box, but I don't know if that's possible because I don't know if you have to open these when you get them, like, or if you just can buy them and not have to, no shipping options, must be present QR code for collection. So, like, that's interesting. It does look like the calling packages here. I think you can add, like they said, add boxes to it, so that's kind of neat. But you'll notice you're paying 175 US dollars to get it. That's a lot. But this premium package, right? You get this beautiful marble and a bunch of other promos. These are beautiful. This world premiere entry is what I'm thinking about trying to politely ask someone to possibly do. And then I want one of these tournament packs for my sealed collection. And inside of this, right, it looks like you get a beautiful playmat, which I am all for. You'll get 2 random of the decks, which these are the hot stamped cards. And then I collect these art cards, and I do really, really, really want one of these because, as again, going back to that binder collection, um, I think that they did some really good stuff with those. Now I'm missing the bright lights ones. I think I am missing because those were like special prize wall ones. There's some high seas ones with a couple of heroes, so I need to track those down if I even can. But I don't know a lot of people that have those just yet. So yeah, that's it. Standard prizes: 4 wins, 600 tickets. Look at that, double prizes: 4 wins, 1,300 tickets. No vendors just yet, venues and travel combinations. So that is everything in a nutshell. We're going to open up the card vault here real quick. Sometimes they hide neat little things in here. Silver Age Chapter 1. Ooh. Do they actually have the deck list? No, they just have the hero. I was going to say, dang. That would have been cool if they had all these. So, Compendium of Wraith. Here we go. These are the cards that they have revealed so far. Not a lot, but again, balance of justice. And what's nice, right, when you click on it, you'll get an understanding of where did it come from. So heavy hitters, right? I've opened so much heavy hitters and I still don't have this card. So in a weird way, I guess it just means that I'm going to really focus on trying to get, Premier Play. What is this? Premier Play heavy hitters. Ooh, that's probably a very special one. I mean, same hero, different stance, both legendary. Text is bigger. Brighter. It seems brighter. That's darker. Definitely brighter. And then that just looks, I mean, these are going to be stupidly expensive. Now, does this say, I wonder if this is non-foil. I mean, that to me sounds like maybe this is non-foil and this is rainbow foil. So that would make sense because that would still make that the rainbow foil. So I'll have to see what they've done with that. But that extended art stuff, that's just beautiful. And this little like special nipple thing in the middle, like where it's like a rarity symbol, I really hope or wonder if that's going to be like some sort of reflective, like, gem looking thing. So, all right, that's everything, guys. Well, appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, do the thing, and yeah, we'll catch up with you. So, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, may your games be fun.